friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. We are out in the garden today in one of our freshly amended raised beds. I just love the look of a freshly amended raised bed, all the beautiful soil. It looks like a kitty cat has already been in here. You can see. Probably gonna need to figure out something to do about that. I've got some bird netting and I'm thinking I'm gonna lay out some bird netting on top of the raised bed and maybe that'll keep them out. If you have kitty cats who like to play in your raised garden beds, please share all the tips below in the comments. I will be very grateful. So, we are planting carrots today. It is mid-August at the time of filming, and it is time to get our fall round of carrots in. I missed my mark this past spring getting spring carrots, so I am doing this entire bed, which extends further off camera that way. It is probably, if I had to guess, I would say, I'm terrible at guesstimating length, but I would say maybe a 20 foot, about a 20-foot bed here long, about 18 inches wide, and that'll be plenty of carrots for us. It should be. But I am going to just talk you through how I plant carrots while I do it in real time, and hopefully it won't be too boring. Hopefully we'll chat. I'll show you all the tricks of the trade that I have picked up over the years for how to get carrot seeds to germinate. Carrot seeds have been one of the trickier plants for me to grow from seed because of how finicky they are to germinate. They have to be in consistent moisture in order to germinate. And that is very hard to do in my area when we are dealing with very long periods with no rain. At the time of filming this, it has been 3 weeks with no rain. I've been waiting to plant carrot seeds, hoping for a period of 1 to 2 days of several hours of rain, because that is ideal. It would help me, it would help reduce my labor, but that's not happening. We don't have rain in the forecast for the next 14 days still. That'll be a total of 5 weeks before we have a good rain, so I can't wait for the rain any longer. I need to just go ahead and get in there and get it done. So that's what we're going to do today. I went ahead and amended the soil yesterday and totally forgot that I should have been filming. So I have already used my whole bag of bone meal and then I threw it away. So I don't have that to show you. But just to note that yesterday before I was ready to be planting carrots, I amended this soil with bone meal. Bone meal is an excellent source of phosphorus, and phosphorus is what makes roots grow big and strong. And since carrots are a root crop, we want those roots to be really big because that's the edible part of this particular crop. So carrots do really well with phosphorus. As far as how I amended, what kind of soil, what kind of compost did I put down? You see this layer, you can go back in past videos and see what it looked like before this, but it was a little bit lower. I went ahead and tried to top it off even with these cinder blocks. And what I did is I added the same mixture I always add, and that is a mixture of aged horse manure, mushroom compost, just like a topsoil blend, and worm castings. Yes, is that it? Horse manure, mushroom compost, worm castings, topsoil, yeah. And that topsoil has some kitchen compost in it as well. So that's what I will top off all my raised beds with, just as a general rule of thumb. When I need to refill my beds, that's what the mixture that I'm going to be going with. And then I think about what's going here, and then go ahead and amend it further based on what's going here, and that's why I used bone meal in this bed. And that is all that I used for this particular bed. When I go to plant, I will use this, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second. But let's just go ahead and get planting, and I'm just going to try to talk and do at the same time. I have a hard time talking and doing at the same time, so I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to do my very best for y'all, okay? Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is mark out the roads, and I just have I don't even know what this is. It's a stick thing, some kind of metal bar. But it's just going to help me produce grooves in the soil. So any kind of the pole of like a hoe would be good, or a shovel, a broomstick, just a regular old stick, all of that would be good. So what I'm going to do is come through here. Let me get this spread out. Can you see me? Yes, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out how many rows wide. Last year I did 4, and I think that was fine as far as spacing goes. Carrots, you know, they're very long and slender, so it's totally not really an issue. Let me make sure I'm not cutting my camera off, my microphone off here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do 4 last year because that is going to give me maximum space. So I'm going to start this first row pretty close. And I'm going to give you a close-up of what I'm doing here in just a second. Just going to get little furrows here. One thing that I have learned about carrot seeds is to completely ignore the depth information that's on the seed packet. It tells you to basically bury the seeds, I think, 1/4 of an inch. And I don't do that. I don't do that because carrot seeds seem to do best when they're pretty much surface sown. And surface sown is just like how it sounds, where the seeds are barely sprinkled on the surface and then covered up with soil just a little bit. Whew. Oh. That's just been my experience, but who knows? I certainly don't have it all figured out. But I'm going to surface sow because that's the best experience that I have had. Let me bring you up close and show you these furrows. If you would like help planting a productive garden, scroll down to the description box of this video and click this link for a free garden printable. We calculated quantities for a year's supply of the most common garden vegetables and organized them into a neat chart to help you plan. We'll send it straight to your inbox. If you're new here, we invite you to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming tutorials on gardening and food preservation, food storage, and more. Okay, here's those rows I made. It's kind of hard to see because, like I said, I don't do them very deep at all. But here's one here, 2, 3, and 4. And it goes down the length of the bed like that. And like I said, they're not very deep at all because that's what I have found to be the best for carrots, is not to plant them very deep at all. So the next step is going to be to amend these rows. Just sprinkle each of these long rows with the mycorrhizal fungi. This is a new to me discovery this past year. It's not a new discovery by any means, but just to me. This is the first year that I've used it pretty heavily and extensively in my garden, and it is my absolute favorite gardening amendment. I've never had root systems like I've had this year, and since carrots are a root crop, I am expecting incredible results from it, but this will be the first time that I have amended carrots with the mycorrhizal fungi, so we shall see. Okay, our rows have been amended with the mycorrhizal fungi, and now it's time to plant the seeds. So we are doing 2 different varieties this year. One is a tried and true favorite. This was the winner of our side-by-side test last year, the Red Core Chantenay carrots from Baker Creek. These had the best germination rate, but also the biggest and most uniform growth. The thing that I've had experience with past different types of seed varieties, with carrots especially, is the extreme differences in the sizes of carrot from one carrot to the next. And this seed variety, they were all, you see this picture? That's exactly how they looked. They were thick, medium size, not super duper long, nowhere near as long as your Danvers carrot. But because of how uniform they were, this was the clear winner, even though they weren't the longest carrot in the world. And then this one is a new to me carrot this year from Haas. It's called Envy Carrot. The reason why I went with this carrot is because it is known for pushing through heavy clay soil. Now I am not planting these in ground this year. I'm planting them in this beautiful raised bed of very loose, pretty much perfect conditions for carrots. So I'm not really needing the ability to bust through clay. But if it can bust through clay, then it will do even better in perfect conditions, right? So look how long they are. They're supposed to be beautiful. They're supposed to be uniform, kind of like the red core Chantenay carrots. So this is what I'm going to be using this year. I'm going to do 2 rows of each side by side so that I can compare this new variety to my seasoned pro over here. And I am just going to, there are so many different ways to plant carrots, y'all. Some people use seed tape. Some people will be very meticulous in trying to space out their carrots. And I have done in the past, I have been very meticulous. I've never tried seed tape, but I've tried to very meticulously space out the carrots because I can't stand pulling up seedlings. I feel so bad ripping out something that's growing in the ground, other than weeds, you know, who cares about weeds? But anyway, now I just know that it's not a big deal to thin out some seedlings. So I just take it and sprinkle the seeds right down the rows, try to do it as lightly as possible, and come out and thin them out later. I will thin them out to where each seedling is about 2 inches away from each other. But that won't happen for probably 3 to 4 weeks. Look at that dragonfly dancing over there. Anyway, let me get you set up and let's get these carrot seeds planted. Now all we're going to do is cover them up. And then once I cover them up with my fingers like that, and then I come through and I tamp it down, tamp that soil down. We need those carrot seeds, just like with lettuce seeds. It's really important for those carrot seeds to come into really good contact with the soil. Using my fingers to cover up the seeds, and that mycorrhizal fungi really helps me see where that row is, which is really nice. In years past, it's been pretty hard to really kind of see those carrot seeds because they're so little. So that was kind of an unexpected nice benefit of using the mycorrhizal fungi. And you can see I'm not doing this deeply at all. I'm just barely raking that soil over the seeds and then tamping them down. I'm just coming across like pieces of stick like this every now and then. So if you see me throwing something out, that's all it is. Every now and then I'm coming across pieces of mulch, kind of pieces of sticks. And I'm just tossing those out because we do want as clean of a bed as possible with as few obstacles as possible for these carrots to have to deal with. Now we just need to water really, really good. Carrot seeds, like I mentioned earlier, need very consistently moist environment in order to germinate. So I'm going to water these in really well. And then I'm going to show you the trick that I use to help get consistent moisture to stick around even in the middle of a drought, which we are currently in. When you're watering in carrot seeds, just like with lettuce seeds, you want to use something like a rain head like this so that you don't disperse the seeds too much. They're going to displace a little bit, but not too bad. Okay, here's the trick. The trick is to keep the soil covered with something. I'm going to be using feed bags, chicken feed bag, dog feed bags, cat food bags, whatever bags I can find is what I'm going to use. You don't have to use feed bags. You can use wood, like a sheet of plywood. You can use like greenhouse plastic fabric. I know this is loud, y'all, sorry. Probably super loud on that microphone. I'm just making use of what I have. You can use cardboard. Last year I used greenhouse plastic. I would use that again if I could find my leftovers, but I can't find them at the moment. I need to get this done. So feed bags it is. And thankfully, I don't know if you can tell, but the feed bags are almost exactly the width of my raised bed here. That's nice, I didn't plan that. But you just need to keep the soil covered somehow. And like I said, even a solid sheet of plywood will be fine. Carrot seeds don't have to have light to germinate in the very beginning. It is far more important for them to have consistent moisture. Now, as soon as we get sprouts, we will need to remove these bags. But in general, those carrot seeds aren't going to sprout for at least 2 weeks. So we have some time to retain this moisture by covering. And then once they sprout, I'll have to remove the covering, and then I'll really have to stay on top of the watering big time. The wind is going to be an issue. So I'm going to go around and find pieces of wood, bricks, cinder blocks, anything like that to kind of tamp these down and hold these down just for the next 2 weeks or so. So besides doing the covering and weighting it down just to keep the soil moist, what it's also going to do is buy me some time to figure out my kitty problem. Speaking of kitty problems, I think I see the culprit. Domino. Are you messing up my raised beds? Domino. Are you pottying in my beds? So that's going to give me some time to figure out that issue. I do have that bird netting. I think I may also go ahead and put up some hoop structures across this bed. You can see the hoops back there. I think I may go ahead and extend those, and even if I just put insect netting over it, which, you know, the plants don't need them obviously, but I think that would be enough to keep the cats off. So I might do that, but this is going to stay covered, and it's going to buy me about 2 weeks of time to come and protect the beds against you know who over there. And it's going to keep the soil moist. Every few days, I'm going to come over here and peek underneath the bags and see if the soil is still moist. If it is not moist, I'm going to water again. And I will do that every few days. Some years I have to water once, twice, 3 times. I've had years where I didn't have to water at all. But considering that there's no rain in my forecast for quite a while, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that this year. I think I'm going to be able to need to really stay on top of checking the soil levels, the moisture levels of the soil. That's it, y'all. I will wait 2 weeks and we'll get some sprouts. As soon as we see some sprouts, all of this will come off and it'll be gardening as usual. I know that some of you are harvesting your carrots right now or about to, so if that's you, we do have a video on harvesting and preserving carrots. I will link that on the screen somewhere right about there, and I hope that is helpful to you. And we will see y'all next time. Bye.